attitude to it, or in this case, an IDAtude. It's a glamorous life, isn't it? Very glamorous. It's all fun and games. This sky is just going to look incredible. I mean, the car is perfectly flat, but the sky's got all this drama going on in it, and we'll be able to pull it out. Shooting raw, you can pull that out, darken it, make it look really angry, and it'll start to match the attitude of the car.
All right, so we're building this 1986 Porsche 930. It's a turbo car, and design-wise, we're just basically leaving the car as is, stock, with the exception of a couple of things. We're deleting some of the U.S. mandated clumsy-looking parts that were on the car. So in the 80s, the U.S. implemented some new crashed, laws that made Porsche put it like these goofy crash bumpers on the cars with accordions and a lot of rubber, and so it made the bumper look too big for the car, and so we don't have to really adhere to that for the car that we're trying to do here. So we were eliminating some of that stuff, made a new bumper that has the same kind of design on the good end, but it removes some of the goofy parts that they had to add for the U.S. mandated stuff. So we mocked up a model and laid up a fiberglass shell of that model. So now the bumper is fitted tightly to the car. It doesn't try to backdate or update the car, which is a pretty common thing for Porsche. A lot of times you'll take a car from the 80s and make it look like it came from the early 70s or something. So we're not doing that. We're still trying to maintain a 930 look, and that's what the car is, and a 930 does have a certain beauty of its own. So we're trying to maintain that and not change the identity of the car. So it's not updated or backdated, but it still looks like a 930 that has just a little cleaner appearance. So we did maintain the rectangle fog lights. A lot of people thought that maybe we should take the rectangle away from the car and put round ones in. But to me, that does put the car back into the 80s, and that's what people were doing in the 80s, was rectangle fog lights. So we took the rectangles and tried to work them into the body, and I think they look like they belong pretty well. They're fared into that bumper, and I think that it was a worthwhile move to stay with that. The other thing that is going to happen soon is we want to continue the hood gap. The hood gap is a really attractive line that I think goes unnoticed, but we're going to run it down into the lower part of the bumper. So basically that hood top is going to continue all the way around and into the bottom of the car, and I think it's going to add a lot of continuity to the design without really adding a part. You know, we're not adding any other parts to the car to enhance it. We're working with the parts that exist, but we're just presenting them in a little cleaner and more refined way. Around the back of the car, we did get rid of the gigantic crash bumpers in the back as well, and the accordions, but the rest of the bumper keeps the same shape as the 11-inch wide fenders would. On the wheels right now, I'm just about to paint the wheels. They're a custom-made. It's a designed based on the old Fuchs wheel. So the Fuchs were like the racing wheels, and you'd see them on street cars too, but these are bigger. They're 11 inches wide in the back, 16 by 11, and we got these really cool DOT Pirelli street slicks from England. They came out of England, and you can't get them here in the US, but it's a great tire as far as proportions go. It's real wide, but it's got a nice sidewall about it, and it's a DOT slick. I'm really excited about the wheel and tire combination on this car as far as the sizes go. The engine is it's a 3.3 liter, and it's turbocharged. It's got a bigger turbo and a bigger intercooler using Porsche parts, so it uses a 965 intercooler, and it has a standalone ignition system from Electromotive with a piggyback system that powers an additional set of fuel injectors. The additional fuel injectors are in place to support the added horsepower. So the car originally made somewhere on the order of like 300 horsepower, but there's a lot more to be had there. And with management, you're able to tap into that power. So we did that, and now we're looking at about 500 horsepower. The engine compartment is just all been detailed. In the back, you'll see some of the tins, which normally on this car would have just been black sheet metal, is now what the Porsche world calls amber. So it's like a fiberglass material without any color to it. So you're looking at just really the translucent resin, and it gives it like an amber plastic color. It's pretty cool. So you would see that like on an old 917 or a Porsche race car. So now we've incorporated some of that look into this car. So the tin work has that look about it. The color is it's a Spieshecker paint. We're finishing this car to be in the Spieshecker booth at SEMA, and the color is from like a late 60s Daimler truck, like something that you'd see on a commercial, like a fleet vehicle or something. And it's just a real mild, kind of a light blue-gray, and I think it's pretty fitting to the car. It's a real neutral kind of a color. It lets the lines of the car speak for themselves. It's not really getting your attention. It's not fighting for the overall appearance of the car. We just went through the whole thing front to back as far as the suspension and hardware goes. We updated some of the things. We just refinished some of the items that were in there just to make it look fresh and new. But it was a great driving car when we started with it. Perfect rust-free car, really an excellent car to begin with. I'm the second owner of it, and it was well maintained. And the interior has like an RS look, which Porsche has always done. So the RS is like a kind of a lightweight street car, race inspired but streetable, and it has like just flat black door panels, no frills, no map pockets or anything like that. Lightweight felt Purlon instead of carpet, without any insulation, just to keep the weight down. The seats are very cool. They're custom-made seats. It's the only seat like it. We designed it with Stefan from GT Classics. The seats look very Porsche-inspired, although they're custom-made. The back of the shell, the fiberglass shell, is the same color as the body, but the upholstery is leather with basket weave, and the center basket weave section has leather in one direction and suede in the other direction. So it gives it really a nice texture and great traction too. So if you're driving the car hard and you're cornering, you're not going to be rolling out of the seat. Kind of locks you in there. And they're also adjustable. So it's a racing looking seat, but it does have adjustability and comfort for street driving. The lights are European, so it has the yellow headlights and the yellow fog lights and the amber tail lights. Lou Hody was a major help in getting the mechanical end of the car worked out. So we had the engine out in his place, and we went through the whole thing. He looked at the internals of the engine, and then we did a full detail on the outside for final assembly, and we got it in last week. And it's not a show car fit and finish. It's a real Porsche fit and finish. So the edges and the gaps look just the way they would have out of the Porsche factory, not overdone like you might see on a modern custom or street machine. That build quality wouldn't really look right on this car. So it needs to be of good quality, but it also has to be realistic. So if you look at the bottom of the car, it still has the body shuts, which is it's almost like an undercoating, kind of a rough but very protective finish on the bottom. And so that's the finish that we're looking for on the car. So it'll look like a Porsche prepared, maybe a concept.
Come in really tight on things, some shallow depth of field, and get it to, but split up the car left to right, and then leave plenty of copy for the editor. This also gives it a really different perspective, and it's a type of perspective that people that own these cars understand, because they get to know those lines when they're down there washing the car and doing all that stuff. So it's all about the lines to them, and this is kind of a tribute to that, you know? Always, safety first. Don't sacrifice the car in any way if there's anything wrong. And if I tumble out of the car, just don't hit me.
Just run you over.
Just
don't run you. Oh, right. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Lights on.
Yeah.
Windows up.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I want you to lock off, if I go like this, or like this, if I go like this, then we're just keep that distance. Just draft me at that distance. And if I want you here, want you there, just follow the hand signals. You tell me, he's really loud, so you tell me if you're braking or turning or anything like that, all right? We're just gonna go right down the middle of the runway. Okay, you can roll it up a little bit.
Okay.
Go 15.
Left.
Okay.
First arrow.
Here we go.
First arrow. Second arrow.
3. Yeah, baby. It's like an orchestra. And crescendo. There we go. What we have here, look at that. There's just that pattern. Like, it's like, what is that?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Right? So, I think we got it.
We got that one.
Stop plane. I think we're up a stop. I'm a big believer in negative space. So what I want to do is I want to shoot off center. And the reason is when you open a page, our eyes usually go left to right. So you can put copy and all kinds of text over here and then have everything come in and settle on the car. Everyone has their different reasons for things. And for me, I'm actually playing with different depths of field right now rather than exposure, and it's really kind of interesting for me when it gets to post. Then I've had this option to go in and play with that a little bit, because every one of those is going to have a slightly different effect on everything. And then I start to, depending on the situation, sometimes everything's just the way you want it, and other times, depending on the vehicle itself, will actually add to what you want to do in post. It's going to tell you, hey, this needs to be really edgy, this needs to be really different, or it really needs to pop, or it needs to be bleached out. I think what I really look for is the location, the combination of the location, the sky, the environment, and the vehicle itself. You've got to take all those things into consideration to actually come up with what you really want at the end. So sometimes it's a lot of doing in post, sometimes it's very little, but if you have the right exposure and the right elements to begin with, it makes all the back end a lot easier.